It's Ed Eason from The Challenge. I'm here at the Zach Nichols podcast. Let's get it going, baby.
You know, I feel like this is your speed, a little soul.
Well, Zach Bryan.
Yeah. All right,
yeah.
cool.
I didn't even tell him anything. I'm sorry, he was telling me.
No,
this
you
was Zach
have.
Bryan.
So before I started listening to Zach Bryan 3 days ago, because finally the 10th person that I know was like, you got to listen to this guy, because I'm a Stapleton guy. Like I love Chris Stapleton, and they're like, if you like Chris Stapleton, you're gonna love Zach Bryan. So then Scott mentioned it, and I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to it, and then I'm like, wow, there's 5 of my new favorite songs.
Yeah, that's insane.
So we were just talking about that on the way from the airport.
He didn't say anything to me at all. I had this discovery this week as well,
That's crazy.
and I was like, I bet Ed likes this guy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you guys are getting a little know more about them. But we're started, man. Welcome back to the Zach Nichols podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Zach Nichols, in the building.
Hit it.
G is G, bro. Get off vacation. She just got back from vacation.
Yeah.
You're not in
Yeah.
mid-season.
Are you
form.
hungover? No.
She's good.
But more importantly,
But more importantly, who do we got in the house today?
we have a very special guest.
We have the man of the hour,
Yeah.
the star of the last episode of the Challenge 39 Battle for a New Champion, Mr. Ed Eason in the building.
Hey, guys, it's me, Ed.
Yep.
We got Ed and Eddie, all three of his personalities right here.
I know, right?
Thanks for coming through to Detroit, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah,
It's great
dude,
to
thanks
be
for
here.
coming. I mean, I wish it was better than 10 degrees out, but you came from that.
Dude, same thing in Philly. We just got hit with a big snowstorm.
Yeah.
So I went from trudging through the snow to trudging through the snow.
It's just a different type of cat to come in here and not complain about the weather. Like we get so many people like, man, the weather, this and that, and you're just like, bro, come on, man. Like this, I'm used to this.
Nah, a bunch of softies.
Well, you know what? That's what makes Ed one of my favorite guests so far, because almost every single person from reality TV these days, like, oh yeah, like where you live? They're like, LA. And you're like, oh, another one bites the dust. That's what reality TV is not made out of people from LA. Reality TV is for people from around the country, and you represent that, and that's why we're glad to have you. And you can tell that your gameplay is different because you're not from LA.
Yeah.
And we saw that last night.
Oh, yeah. I play like a good old Conshohocken, Pennsylvania boy.
you did.
Absolutely.
Yes, you did. And but I think what's even more intriguing about you is where you went to college.
Yes. That surprises most people. I went to Cornell University.
Ever
you're,
heard of it?
You're an Ivy Leaguer?
Ever
Ivy
heard of
League.
it?
I have a degree in mechanical engineering.
Wow.
And yeah, most people, I don't sound very educated when I talk.
Oh God, I wish I could sit in on some of your college presentations at Cornell.
Oh, I was a trip in college.
You're telling me I would have paid tickets.
I felt like no matter what I said, like we'd be in a big hall of, 300-400 kids, the
Yeah.
intro level classes. And I would just say like dumb shit and ask the craziest questions. And the professors all knew who I was.
Right.
And I felt like every time I talked, the kids were just like, it was like a cheering section. They're like, go Ed, we love Ed. Like I could say something completely just dumb. And my friends would be like, why are you saying that? I'm like, the kids are going to love it. Watch.
Yeah. And we know it's Philly, not Boston, but you're essentially Goodwill Hunting is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Literally, yeah, hit it on the head.
That's pretty awesome. How you like them apples? We're super excited to have you here. We're going to get into the episode that you did, in my opinion, you starred in, as well as some personal stuff about you. But before we do that, we do want to remind you guys, if you haven't got your tickets to ZNP Live, first live show that we're doing here in Detroit, February 17th. Make sure you go get those tickets immediately. We have Jordan, who you got to see in the arena, as well as Laurel, who you got to see in the arena, coming through. Give them both a round of applause, please, G.
What do you think about Jordan? What did you think about him? That was the first time you've ever probably met him or seen him?
Yeah, so that was my first encounter with Jordan. I didn't really get to talk to him. He was kind of in and out there for elimination, and that was it. So I don't really want to make my first impression that. I kind of want to talk to the guy, even compete next to him first.
You would love him.
Yeah.
You'd love Jordan.
Because he's a country boy, right?
Oklahoma Smoke
Oh, yeah,
Show.
There you go.
He's the Oklahoma Smoke Show.
He's the Oklahoma Smoke Show. Good old Zach Bryan shout out right there.
Yep.
Baseball, football player.
When I heard that song, I screenshot. I'm shocked that this song came out and it's not about you. But no, Jordan is one of my favorite people. And that elimination round that he did, I think you'd be good at that one.
Yeah, that one was
That would
interesting.
have been a good one for you.
It was very you had to be strategic with it. Like instead of, sitting in the middle, Jordan did it very well.
Yeah.
Where he would run up, hit the button and stay there and then just coast down
And
and run
use
up
the
to the next one.
momentum,
Yeah, and we
All
had
momentum.
and we had heard like kind of just the rules weren't explained to us as a viewer as they might have been explained there. So like if there was a certain interval where he could waste seconds by staying up there, there was just the strategic, the high IQ level is something I think that would be fun to see you against somebody like him, and hopefully we'll be able to see that in the future. So we got Jordan, and then we have Laurel as well, who there's been some critiques of that elimination that Laurel was in, but at least you got to see her physical stature. Did you know her before that?
No, she was way taller in person.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, oh no, like you don't want to go against Laurel. Like she's good. I'm like, how scary can this chick be? And then I saw her and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, she's a
All
presence.
right, now I understand.
She's a presence.
Yeah.
She's very strong too. But yeah, she intimidates the shit out of me. She's like one of the challenges that I'm probably most afraid of is Laurel.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So this will help me understand a little more about you. Were you a fan of the challenge, or did you watch it, or did you just kind of get like, the lottery ticket that said, "Hey man, we'd love for you to come on the challenge," and you were like, "What is this?"
Yeah. So
Or
pretty
you
much
heard of it, but you didn't know much about it.
that's exactly what happened almost. So I did my first show, The Circle, on
Right.
Netflix.
Yeah.
And a lot of people told me, friends, family, random people on the internet too, would message me, be like, Ed, you did great on The Circle, but you'd probably be a great fit for the challenge. I kept getting it over and over and over
Yeah.
again. And at that point, I had never watched the challenge. Lo and behold, the challenge ends up reaching out to me. They're like, hey, Ed, we saw you on The Circle. We would love to have you apply. Are you interested in coming out for the challenge? So I was like, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll do it. So I sent my application in. I didn't think I was like going to get it. And then it was literally, they're like, all right, yep, you're in. Your flight's in 3 days.
Oh shit.
I'm like, whoa. So me and my girlfriend go on YouTube and I'm like, the challenge highlights. So I'm watching like, CT and Bananas, their eliminations. And I was just watching all like the crazy shit that goes down, like
Right.
the real headbanger physical stuff. And I was like, this looks like a blast. Like, I'm in. Let's do this.
Yeah, most people are like, I don't know what I'm getting myself into. You see it, you're like, I could do that to someone for money?
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I was like, why didn't I go after this earlier? This is right
Yeah.
up my alley. So it worked out like perfectly where they just called me. I was like, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, and you came in very energetic. I would describe it as the most shredded Chris Farley I've ever seen in my life. That's the vibe I was getting. That's been so like I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, so he's giving me Chris, that energy, right? But you're ripped. So it's, it's not the same humor, but it's very much so the same. And then I'm like, I wonder if this is like a lot of just like peacocking and false bravado. And then I saw like almost instantly Devin took you under his wing. And I'm like, no, he's a bro. Because Devin, if you're not a bro, Devin doesn't waste his time with you. There's like one other person who won that I've seen win Devin's affection over like that. And it was Kyle and then Nam. And so like, I'm like, okay, like he's got to be legit if Devin's is,
Yeah, dude. No, Devin's a good guy, and we kind of like got each other's humor right away.
Yeah.
So going out for 37, they had us sit like 10 days or something before.
Oh, that's
in
right,
quarantine. So everybody's out on the balconies like miserable, and like Dev was like, "Oh man, like I can't do it." This is like day 3 or 4. He's like, "I can't do it anymore," and we were just like cracking dumb jokes, keeping each other sane the whole time. And I think that's really where we just started hitting it off, yelling at each other from like 4 hotel rooms down.
Yeah, because they don't let you talk, but everyone just goes out on their balcony. We actually, at one time, we didn't have to quarantine. We had like 2 nights. And Jenna and Nani and I just all like crawled along the balcony all and hung out in one room. We're like, this is stupid.
Yeah, that's wild. So we'll definitely talk about the relationships that you made on 37, which we saw come to fruition in this episode. But did we notice Zach has a very peculiar outfit on today? What is that?
Yeah,
What is that?
fresh 3/4 zip.
Dude,
Who's that belong to?
This belongs to my favorite, my second favorite Brit.
Yeah.
Kyle. Yeah, I just thought if Ed decided to get a little out of control and flex on me a little bit, this might kind of be like a bear spray. Like maybe you might think I'm Kyle. That was a crazy call on your part.
Well, yeah, okay. So they made me look a little stupid in that episode when I, versed Kyle in the pole wrestle.
The pole wrestling champion, undefeated in pole wrestle.
Yeah, so that was an accidental call out. We got down in the arena, empty arena. Usually TJ's like, this is the event, pick somebody. But it was just empty sand pit.
Oh, they didn't bring the pole out.
So they didn't bring the pole out yet. They're like, you got to pick somebody. I'm like, Tej, usually, we kind of know what it is first.
Yeah, let me
Can I
size
know what
him
it
up.
is?
Yeah.
He's like, nope, you got to pick somebody. So I'm like, all right.
Funny how
Kyle.
those rules changed.
And then he's like, that's a bad choice because it happens to be a pole wrestle.
Oh
I was
my
like,
gosh.
But it's crazy because you almost beat him up for the first half, and then that's what he does. I've seen him do that now 3 or 4 times where I'm like, what? Kyle can endure more pain than anyone I've ever seen.
Tell me, who has he taken out in a pole wrestle?
Well, he had a 3-way pole wrestle against a guy named JP from Brazil, who was like a Brazilian model, and then CT.
Yeah. Oh shit.
So he beat them both. He beat Ed, which is, I mean, I'm looking at your forearms, and that was not easy.
Yeah.
And I think there's one more win he has. I don't know who. I can't off the top of my head.
I mean, CT and Ed. I mean, that's enough for me to know that he's
good at
the real
that.
deal.
yeah. No, I wish I would have known before. I also wish I would have watched the show because I didn't know what a pole wrestle was.
You had 3 days.
Dude, I went in there guns blazing that pole wrestle. I tired out real quick.
Yeah, dude,
but I was smashing him against the ground. And come to find out after, he's like, oh, dude, Ed, they had to send me to the hospital. I thought I broke a rib. Turns out they were just bruised. But, dude, like, I was in rough shape after that. I'm like, all right, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Right.
He still ended up beating me in the end, but I was like, you know what, I'll give it to him. He went through it.
That's experience, though.
I've wrestled Kyle, and I'm like, I remember thinking, I'm going to beat his ass. And I'm like, no, he's long, and he's actually very strong.
Yeah,
like,
he's got the strength to him.
Yeah, 0 butt.
Man.
No butt.
Hamstring. I've never seen a butt like my life. It goes back, hamstrings.
Yeah.
His butt cheeks are this big each.
It's like a quarter slot. You just put the quarter
Not
in.
even, dude.
That's funny,
He's got
man.
no butt. It disappeared.
That's hysterical. We'd love to see him on 40. We'd love to see you on 40. Who knows? We never know. Let's get into the episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
So
a great one. Now, like, but before we get into this episode, like when we're watching it, who is your so if you at this point, right? Who's your number one? They don't really talk about your alliances. I think you're loosely aligned. I didn't even know the Emmanuel part, but you're loosely aligned with Jay and Michelle. But it looks like you understand where you lay on their list, and they're kind of your 3, 4 too. So, because up until now, I feel like you're if you're that alliance is a nucleus, you're the mitochondria, you're the energy, like you're winning things for them. They're not winning. So how are you aligned with them at this point in the episode? Because they don't really talk about your political ties.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Up until now, I don't think they show like one political talk.
Big T's your only political talk, and you were like, "This is a joke. You're going home." So,
dude, it's nuts. Like I was talking to people in there. They don't show it. I think the thing is too, I'm very efficient when I talk. So I'll go up to somebody. I'll be like, "This is our plan. Boom, good. All right, done." I don't sit there for like an hour and gossip and drama. Like we get right to the point. I'm in and out of the conversation.
You don't want it to change before you leave because sometimes they get to talking, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Wait, what are we doing?"
Yeah.
So I like that.
I think, and I act like a guy. I'm just like, all right, this is our plan. Cool, let's do it. Done.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
simple as that. But yeah, my whole alliance there, I'm kind of kicking myself now. I mean, mainly my alliance was with the big alliance.
Right.
Michelle, Jay, Emmanuel.
Use the blanket.
Yeah. And I kind of wish I didn't do that so much and more so would have done like a lone wolf thing where I think that alliance did keep me pretty well protected.
But I don't think you needed it.
You know, I don't think I needed it.
I think it was insurance, and I think it was a comforting blanket, but you definitely didn't need it because I don't think you were on anyone's radar at all.
No.
Because I don't think anyone wanted the smoke.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
think
just,
they did.
I feel like I kind of fell in there because it was like right off the rip.
Right.
You send in all of these people, you know, everybody's pretty new, but this whole gang here, like the Michelle, Nerese, Olivia, Mariah, Jay, like they're all great friends in real life.
Right.
So it's like you get 6 or 7 people that are good friends. No doubt they're going to band together and,
Right.
you know, start an alliance.
Yep.
So it's like rather than me try to start my own alliance against them, it's like, why not just kind of fall in with them?
100%.
There's more numbers there.
You never want to be the leader,
Yeah.
you know?
yeah, something he's always said on the show is like, you're never going to tell them automatically no. Like, no, like I don't want to work with you. No, just take it. See for what it is.
Always take it. So, but that's my thing too. Is I'm like even those conversations you see Jay when he was all cheesed off, and you know after the voting or whatever, and it's like even Michelle, she's like, he's all of our number ones, and I'm sitting there thinking like that sounds so stupid. You can't be everyone's number one. Everyone knows that. You're literally trying to they've gaslit these people for so long that now they're just it's like what they're saying is like, dude, he can't be everyone's number one. He can protect Nerese and not say her name. But if he's taking away all of her protection, he's still, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why with me and any alliance I ever made, it was always like, I won't say your name, you don't say mine, but I'm not going to tell you what you do when you win Because then it's like, then it becomes everyone looks at you. Now you're a target. If I know you're not going to say my name, but you say like someone who I am closely aligned with, it's like, well, too bad. If I didn't want that to happen, I should have won. But I'm not like, if I say, oh, don't throw him in, now you're like, okay, well, bitch, you're next.
Dude, it's wild how much people kind of expect where it's like, okay, this person's my number one, my number two. So for you, this person has to be your number one, number two.
No.
It's like, no, everybody's
They can
playing
only,
their own game.
yeah, they can
Everybody's-
only protect you for so long.
Yeah.
So
And
last week,
that was my big thing was I just didn't know. Like, so I get what you're doing though, because you have your thing with Emmanuel. So we know that. And then because of the blanket, Corey's not going to directly come out after you, right? Until now. So it just is like, now it's kind of like, this is the challenge where depending on who won and which way it went, it was going to open it up for one group or the other. And so you went to work, obviously. But I think you were a little bit more shocked, like, wait a second, it's actually me.
Yeah.
Like,
So
I've literally protected you guys, haven't done anything outside of what I've said, and Corey's not an option.
yeah, that's what kept blowing my mind is like, nothing against Corey. Love
Nothing.
him, love the dude.
Yeah,
like a
absolutely.
friend of mine.
as do we.
But like gameplay strategy wise, didn't have the cleanest game, was very
No.
messy at times.
Yeah.
So like when it came to this vote where it was like either me or Emmanuel, I'm like, I mean, there's also Jay, there's Asaf, there's Corey. I'm like, we have 5 options. Why are we picking out of the 2? And also out of the 2, like, why me and Emmanuel? I'm like, has anybody seen what's going on like the whole entire way through with Corey where he's flip-flopping back and forth, and then the whole big T and Melissa thing where he had that blow up? I'm just like, this guy's kind of a loose cannon.
Right.
We got to like watch out for
Yeah.
him.
Right, and you've made 0 waves in that department. So at this point,
But
you're
who's
not
better-
causing any trouble.
Who's better at running a final, Corey or Ed?
I think
You
that
tell
was
me.
And so they used a lot of a lot of the same reason why they would say that they're throwing in Horacio is probably why they went for you, but they had to soften that blow because you technically were in a lot of their alliances, so they had to play it off. And I was just shocked. I did not expect that at all. I thought it was going to be when I saw who won, I was thinking Corey for sure. I was 100%
Yeah.
thinking Corey. And so obviously, like we just discussed earlier, this was the one where I think everyone was probably sweating because if you think about it, 10, it was the 10th one. So you hadn't seen. So you guys basically thought it was either going to be CT, Bananas, or Wes. It's probably.
Yeah, we knew something big was coming.
You knew they weren't bringing around a middle level guy like me or, like a mid guy. They were bringing in a guy.
Some heavy artillery.
yeah.
They were bringing in a Mount Rushmore guy.
Oh, yeah. They brought in the Mount Rushmore guy. So there was probably a little bit more fear going on in that aspect, too. So maybe they saw it as an opportunity to get rid of him.
For sure. Okay, well, we'll go back to the beginning. We see we come back, and then Kylan and James are kind of talking, and we kind of realize, like, hey, some people haven't gone into eliminations, yourself included, Emmanuel included, Jay included, right? If you had your pick of one player in the house that you would have wanted to see go into that elimination, who would it have been Corey for that last one against CT?
Actually, maybe. Nothing against Corey, like I said, but I think I probably would have wanted to see him go down there more so because this is where I'm a little, twisted too. Because my whole gameplay, I played with the same alliance the whole time where I'm kicking myself. It's like, man, I wish I kind of would have worked with other people more because I would have rather seen like a crazy final where it's like Ed versus Horacio versus Emmanuel versus even Kieran. You remember Kieran? Like
But why would you rather run a final against the best finalists in the house?
because I feel like that's badass. That makes it interesting to watch. Like that's a battle right
So
there.
you would take
Like-
you would choose to be in a battle rather than go in there against people you can beat, take the money.
I would rather it like be a show. I want to see a battle. Like I
Okay.
want to see the
All
big
right.
guns duke it out and like may the best man win. Because at the end of the day, like it's a competition series. I know there's a lot of drama, a lot of politics that go into it,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's the people that just kind of either fly under the radar, they just get to the final. They're really strong political,
Yeah.
connections and ties.
That's
and
the
it's-
challenge, though, man. That's the
No.
challenge, though.
That's
That's
the hard-
something I've learned since covering this thing is the social aspect. You have to put it where it belongs in this game, which is very high up there, just as much as competitiveness.
I do want to see warriors though. You got to let the dogs dog it out. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
I agree at some point, but if I'm watching, I agree. If I'm in it, I'm trying to run against Corey. I'm trying to run against James. Now I'm trying to run against Colleen. I want nobody with any endurance in that final with me. I want insurance that my family is getting whatever's left with that money.
I think
Now,
also-
as a fan watching it, hell yeah, Ed, let's watch you run against Horacio and Emmanuel and Zara, because don't count her out. If she gets to a final and there's a ton of equalizers and she gets lucky on a couple puzzles, that girl can run. She might be one of like the single fastest people to be on the challenge after what I've seen from USA or whatever it was, championships. Sorry.
Yeah, I get a little bit torn because I love what you're saying, which is like you want to see the best people compete, but like that's why, as much as I don't appreciate Jay Urzov's character at all, I do respect that they're going for the guns. I mean, I actually do respect that. They're taking the shots at the people that are the best players. Because if it's a game where I see Johnny not getting voted or Wes not getting any votes, I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, bro, go for the people that could beat you. So I do respect them in that regard. However, the format of the show has made it kind of tough for, you guys to fire back, because normally at the beginning you get voted in, no problem. You pick, let me get who I want. And I think every vet or I think every champion that came in should have just had the fucking chaos.
Okay, just been able to pick whoever they wanted.
Just automatic chaos.
But then it would have there'd been no reason to throw anyone in.
That's
then
true.
there's no reason to have a challenge. So you have to have that so you can have the format. But I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And like we've said before, I think that they should have had the elimination rounds that completely cater to the champ's strength.
Yeah.
So that it's an actual punishment that you have to go in against them. And because if you're going to beat a champ, like I said, like Laurel, to me, she looked disinterested. Cara was like, oh, Michelle understands the puzzle. I don't get it. Cara could have moved those things way faster than her, but because of the puzzle she lost, I kind of saw the same thing with her. Again, I said great wins, but it would be like me playing basketball my whole life, you never playing, and us playing basketball. Like, you lose, you wouldn't be upset. You'd be like, dude, I've never bounced a ball. He's been doing it his whole life. So, like, it was one of those things where it's like, if you're going to beat a champ, put him into something that, like, or let's just see him earn it. Let's see him go in there and do something where it's like, you last man standing. You're going to do this until you're so tired you pass out. Whoever doesn't pass out. That's what I wanted to see in these elimination rounds.
And that's the thing that excites me about this. Like,
yes.
The just like, I'd rather see us bash each other in the sand, like beat the shit out of each other, than like, have CT do a math problem as like an elimination. It's like, come on, like these guys are legends. Like, let them do their thing, and like let us have our chance to kind of like shine. It's like you can't really shine as a new competitor if you're just kind of playing carnival games the whole time.
It's like watching Asaf lose in a math contest is. It's a letdown for the viewer. It's great to see CT, but it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, who wants to watch people do math? There's a reason why they don't do math in the Olympics.
Coming from the Ivy League educated engineer over here.
Yeah.
No, don't get me wrong. I love math. Like,
but you don't want to watch it.
That concludes the free preview of the Zach Nichols podcast.
So go to Patreon and subscribe to see the rest of the shit that we talk.
Go do it now.